cook some Australian.
What is up, Matt?
How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. You're coming in loud and clear. Perfect.
Let me turn this up a little bit. I'm
How's-
celebrating my Wolfpack being 5-1 for
Oh, nice. So
the time being.
what is the so 5-1? Who do they play this week?
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Who does the Wolfpack have this week?
I don't know. I found that it's better off if I don't look ahead because it's not. I like to be surprised, but
Yeah, no
it
doubt.
seems like, it seems like their MO is to either get behind and have to catch up and pull out a miracle, or get ahead and give it all back and have to pull out a miracle. But I remember back in the Jimmy Valvano days, they got the nickname the Cardiac Pack.
Yeah.
And that's stuck with them. That's their MO is to always just keep you on the edge of your heart attack seat.
I'm forwarding Nick the guide that you just sent me.
Yeah, I think he's got it.
Oh, there you go. Gotcha. No, never mind. That's what you sent out to people. Perfect. We'll just wait for a couple people to stream in here. Man, I can't believe it's already Wednesday, Matt.
I know, it's crazy.
So while we got people streaming in here, why don't you tell me how did your show go or your event go yesterday?
It was really, really very good. Actually, it was Tuesday. And
Tuesday. I'm sorry.
The guy that was there, it was one of those other than lumber kind of things that it had to do with accountability and more business kind of stuff than it was lumber. It wasn't specifically tailored to the lumber business, but what was encouraging about it was there was a little quiz that we all had to take, and as an industry, as a group, we scored higher than normally most people do on being interactive with our employees and making them feel like they have some ownership in the business. And it was kind of encouraging industry-wide to see that we were doing probably better than average.
Well, good. So Donnie Nixon is on from Conroe, Texas. Hey, Donnie, glad to have you on. Let's see here. What is it? Bob Myers said the orange. He must be. You guys must be.
Tennessee.
Yeah, he said the orange.
We already been beaten one orange.
Yeah, I think he's on your side.
Yeah, good. We already took our Clemson whipping.
That's good. That's get that one pie. So one thing Matt and I like doing for everybody coming in, I had a conversation yesterday with a person from a big national distribution chain that says he watches the show every week. And Matt, I mean, I get those calls every week about people that love watching the show, play it in their cars when they're not around. So it's there's a lot going on, man. Right?
I got one guy that says that on date night every Friday night he plays the show back. So his wife knows who we are, and she listens to on the way to their date lunch with Lumbermen.
So who is we should give a shout out to his wife for putting up with that in the car.
Yeah, Jimmy Broach is the guy's name. He's a truss manufacturer down in South Carolina. So yeah, kudos to Jimmy's wife for tolerating it, and we'll try to keep you in mind.
Yeah, Jimmy's wife, thank you very much for listening to Matt and I. We appreciate that. And he should take you out for a really, really expensive dinner and detour from where you normally go.
Get the dessert.
Did I ever tell you about the one time I took a group of lumber guys out, and one of the guys there had everybody, because I was paying for it, had everybody order dessert for their significant others at home on my bill so they could bring it to them. And I never ever took the guy out to dinner again. So Alan Taylor, Carolina, Atlantic Forest Products, South Central Pearl, Missouri, Shelton, Mississippi. Sorry, Shelton, Washington, Pennsylvania. Here, Brett Walls. Hey, Brett. So we got some people streaming in. Jared Voss from Minnesota. Minnesota.
We're
the home of the best football team in the NFL, the Minnesota Vikings.
Legends.
All right, well, look, we'll start out so Matt. I was curious about that to see how your show did, or how your event went yesterday. I see you a lot more on social media now. I see a lot more of your of the polls that you put out. I see whatever you're doing, keep doing it because you're putting a lot of stuff out, right? And it's a lot of good stuff, and you're creating a lot of content and context, and you're helping the industry be better, smarter, and make more informed decisions. And I think ultimately that's a great deal. Bill Jazier, great to see you. I read your report every morning on LinkedIn. You do a great job. You're the goat on that one. You've been going at that for 8 years or more, putting that out. So good for you.
Yeah,
Um,
David, he does a great job.
yeah, Jared just said that's a stretch on the Minnesota Vikings, I think. But hey, man, we can all hope. I'm going back to my Fran Tarkington days. Um,
Oh,
yeah, I love.
he had a broken leg one time. But did he? Was that Fran Tarkenton's leg snapped, or was that?
I don't know, man.
That was Joe Theismann. That was Joe
Let
Theismann.
let me down 4 years in a row going to the Super Bowl. But so hey, everybody, welcome to Lunch with Lumbermen with Matt Lehman, Lehman's Guide, Ashley Buckle, Materials Exchange, the only digital B2B lumber matching website out there. We've actually had a good month last month, Matt. We're scaling again. We're putting more content out. So I'm trying to take after Billy G there and put out a thing to all of our users every day with our breakdown of what we saw on the platform, the prices we saw, and everything. And if you're a member of the if you can go to MXLBR, that's MXLBR.com. If you haven't signed up to get on, there's no charge to get on. Uh, so you and I talked before the show about what we wanted to talk about, and I think it's interesting. It's crazy how much volatility is going on out there. How much in other things, in stock market, in other things in general. We've lived through that in the last 2 years, and what we've watched is the market basically fall for the last 3 or 4 months. Things have gotten a little bit more subdued, but housing still kind of hangs in there and kind of climbs the wall of worry. Yeah, rates are up, things are a little bit tougher, but I made 50 calls, 40 calls yesterday talking to my friends in the business, and I asked them, "Hey, what are you seeing out there?" And they're like, "Hey, Ash, since June or that area, we definitely are seeing some things down. In single family, probably somewhere of 20%. You can pick some places have a better stronghold, the Southeast and some other markets. Vegas, I heard, was a good one where maybe things are a little bit better. But, when I hear 20%, I'm like, okay. In my mind, you always think it is doom and gloom, and it's worse than that. It's not. In multifamily, not so bad, still moving along. With that said, you and I kind of talked about, you know, the multifamily conversations I have with just people in the multifamily sector. They don't have anything to do with single family. They seem to have a lot of inventory already bought, or push the risk to somebody else. So yeah, they're still buying some stuff every now and then, but right now they're trying to get stuff out of their warehouses that they've had, and they always make the comment, "It's more than I wanted to pay for it," right? So that's just part of the residual feeling from a tough market. I had people buy last week on the platform that feel that they paid too much on some stuff, right?
Well,
Uh,
you always feel that way until they buy the next one they buy is higher. Then they'll feel
yeah,
better about the last one.
yeah, but I mean, my theme is overall, we're kind of moving and grooving along here, and we've adjusted. I mean, the equities had a big sell-off today, and then bounced right back. So, what are you hearing from your people, from your members? What's your feedback on that kind of stuff?
I think that without exception, everybody is getting more lean than they were. I did a survey about a month ago, and everybody said that they were on the lean side of adequately inventoried. And I think the market's got the lumber handler side, people between builders and mills, that the market has gotten more under inventoried, more lean, and I think it's because nobody's giving them anything to go on. I mean, I was at a conference when we were at the BCMC. One of the one of the panels was a lumber panel. They were talking about how what the good value of lumber was, and how under inventoried everybody was, and people need to be buying. And one of the builders shouted out from the audience, says, "Why don't you buy it?" And then he hollered back at him, "Well, you go first. You give me a reason to buy." So it's kind of like they almost got a little pissing match there between the two of them, between the builder and the wholesale distributor, saying, "I'd like to play." They both said, "I'd like to play," but the other said, "You go first."
Yeah,
What I'm
well,
afraid I was
look
glad
at
of it.
what one of our it costs more to keep inventory right now. We went from a zero interest rate environment 6 months ago to an environment with actually short-term rates coming into play now. Um, rates at the mortgage level are high. Uh, there's less building, slightly less. So, you know, people, from what I see, the normalization of the way people buy right now. I talked to a couple people. One of my friends the other day was like, "I'm still transferring stock between stores. I want to buy, but right now I don't feel that even if I have to pay a little bit more, uh, in the future, we're okay." And it seems to be that's the mindset. And once that mindset turns, it takes a lot to turn that ship around. And like you said, though, Matt, this same person said, "Hey, I need to buy 50 of something. I'm buying 2 to 3 to 4 a week, and I'm fine with it." Right. And that's how I'm looking
Yeah,
at it. And
light. They're
you,
light and they're, and that's what I think. I think the surprise to this market is to the upside because people are uncomfortable. I mean, unnaturally comfortable with having lean inventories and with no intentions of changing that plan until something happens on the horizon. And you think like when you turn on the TV and you see what happened this morning, like on the stock market, it was up 300 and down 600 and up 300 again. It's like, well, that's no help at all. That didn't make me want to go out and take an inventory position.
I called my stock guy today that put my money to, so I don't have to worry about it. I'm like, and I called him this morning, and he probably got a bunch of calls like from me. I'm like, why do I use you if all you do is tell me to be long all the time? Why didn't you tell me 6 months ago that I should lighten up on this, right? And I'm probably everybody else making that call today, right? So let's think about it in lumber too. And you always bring up this point, and I've seen it in other markets. We've had some pretty big up moves in bear markets because the market gets wound so tight and so tight and so tight, and all of a
We'll
sudden,
get
for
another one.
whatever reason, the old company I was at, we call it the hand of God. Something happens, or everybody decides to do something at the same time, and all of a sudden, we're up again. Now, remember, normally a market, if you take these last 2 years out, only moved about $135 a thousand the entire year. We've had moves like that in 2 days in the last 2 years. Are we going to have that again? I don't know. Um, but I want to bring up your layman's guide. I'm going to have Nick bring that up because I was going through that. What do you see here? You had the market conditions and the lumber leading comment on the side. What is the one thing that your people should pull out of here to think about when they look at this guide today, Matt?
I think that we've talked about lumber being a leading indicator, and I want to go back to that. That's just because where we stop looking, but lumber's not the leading indicator for the housing demand. Housing's the leading indicator of it, and we all should be paying more attention to builders. And I think that the builders are telling us right now they're unsure about really about the first half of next year. But I think builders are also being overly uncertain because the Fed's just not making it clear when they're going to quit doing what they're doing. And so right now we're just everybody's being choked. And so if you think about what are Home Depot and Lowe's plans for the first half of the year? They haven't even made their plans known for what I can tell. They haven't made their plans known to their VMIs and to their treaters. So they don't have a plan for how to even start the year. So everybody's sitting here on a like a powder keg waiting for the thing to blow with having inventories low, 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 and getting them lower, thinking that nothing's going to happen. But like you call it, the hand of God or whatever. But we're going to build some houses next year. We're going to repair some things. We're going to repair and remodel. The houses are going to be remodeled. There's going to be new decks built. There's going to be. You think about last year, one of the things when the housing got so expensive, one of the things that builders were doing was leaving decks off of houses. It said, well, when the market comes down and gets to be a little more reasonable, you can put that deck on your house. There's a significant number of new homes that don't even have decks on them yet.
So,
So
yeah, James Brecht just said with our LBM dealers, there is less and less reason to attempt to capture the market. Dealers are looking to match purchases to sales projections and nothing else. I think, James, that sums it up really well. Kyle just put out here, well, we just had a $90 thousand move over the past 3 weeks, 20% move higher. Predominantly inventory managed strategy is to just be very lean and just in time. Yeah, I agree. Thoughts there, Matt?
I think that's exactly what's happening, and I think it's setting us up for a real explosive upside.
Yeah, no, that could be. Look, like I said, there's been big moves in bear markets, man, that can really catch people off sides. And um, Chad,
Think about that. You said something about interest rates being a deterrent. What's 7% on a $500 lumber? $35 a thousand versus $20 a thousand at 3%. I mean, $35 a thousand is not a make or break kind of price for. I mean, if people were looking for $35 to be a place to enter or exit a market, it'd be a lot more fragile or fickle than it is. But $35 is it's nothing big. So I don't think the cost of carrying inventory is a major deterrent for taking a speculative position when you feel like the time is right.
yeah, no, no, that's true. One of the things that I also see is, and I always hearken back to the 2007 and 8 market when I was at companies that were taking it on the chin from companies going out of business, right? Companies that were wound so tight and levered so high. I don't think we're at that point yet, but there are a lot of companies out there that are levered pretty high, making acquisitions, and they don't want to deploy money in inventory. They want to deploy more. So we kind of need the market to continue to move. We need housing to not really get much worse and to move higher. Because do you think there are some companies that are levered up pretty good out there, Matt?
I, according to my information, everybody's levered up pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's one thing.
I mean, if you think about the whole economy, the way things are going with the Fed's trying to choke down spending so it can reduce inflation. But the problem isn't demand side; is that everybody knows it's the supply side, and you're in an economy where you're making it unattractive and unavailable for people to try to expand their production capacity so they can increase the supply. So it's kind of a catch-22. Like, how are we going to fix the problem when the environment for fixing the problem is not conducive to doing it?
Chad Furley was saying remodeling in commercial is on the rise. Yeah, a number that I don't have, Chad, but it's good to hear feedback on that. I would say that that would make sense that if somebody's in a house right now, they're probably going to stay in it if they've got a rate under 4%. And if they're going to, instead of moving to somewhere, they're probably going to fix something up. That makes a lot of sense.
Remember last year we were talking about there was a started the discussion around older homes, talking about the inventory of homes that were over 50 years was some kind of probably been that 40-year. Everybody keeps using 40-year highs kind of or lows kind of thing, but you think about that, like just because a house is 50 years old doesn't mean it's going to get torn down and go away. It's going to get fixed up or remodeled. Sorry about that.
Yep.
Um,
Somebody's mad about something you said and calling you, tell you to change it.
yeah, somebody said don't say that don't say that out loud. But I think the repair and remodel is probably going to be the most overlooked sector because these older homes are just going to get remodeled. My wife and I just did that. We bought the house that she was raised in, and her parents built it back in the 50s, and we just completely gutted the whole thing and did the whole house all over again, and we ended up with a $300,000 house that would have cost us 450,000 to build from scratch. So it's still cheaper to just gut it and wipe it out and start all over again. And a lot of those homes, this house is a brick houses. I mean, these houses that were built 50 years ago are structurally really sound, and you can put windows and doors and redo the whole thing without taking the foundation down. And I think that's going to be a lot of what goes on in the future too to create more housing.
And brick. You just mentioned Brick House. That's also a good song back from the '70s too. Brick House.
Oh, she's a brick. That's the North Carolina national anthem. I always say that. She's a brick house. Everybody, every cover band plays Brick House in North Carolina.
So, so another side note. Norm from This Old House is retiring. I read this month, right?
Is he still
Which
alive?
what's that?
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's retiring. Kyle put North America consumes approximately 60 billion board feet of lumber. We concentrate on housing starts that only consume 30 to 30% of that volume. That is true. Repair and remodel is close to 40%. Will be trending above that over the next 5 years. Yeah, that's a stat that nobody ever really gets. If you ever ask somebody, even in the industry, what uses more repair and remodel or new home, they always say new home, and it is repair and remodel. Thanks.
Think about that the lumber package for repair and remodel. What's that? Where's that going to come from? it's not going to come from a mill direct sale. It's probably it's going to be one of those things. It's going to be one of Kyle's customers that he's going to have to service because there's small packages of broken bundles of 2x4s and 2x6s and treated lumber and panels. So it's going to be a I think it's going to be a 2023 is going to be a huge year for distributors, wholesale distributors that can service the smaller retailers because of the just because of how the demand's going to get split up again with
No
more.
doubt, Matt.
Is one of us supposed to be talking?
Yep. Hold on one second there, Matt. I lost you for a second. I think I got you back now. There we go.
All
Can you
right.
hear me? Okay, gotcha.
Yep. Yep.
So Brett put up there. Can you hear me now, Nick? Aren't lumber supply and demand?
You're cutting out pretty much
There
in
we go.
line.
Aren't lumber supply and demand pretty much in line at this point, signaling no major price movements in the short term?
I don't think so. I think so, on the supply side is chasing demand, trying to figure out where it's supposed to be because it's still a little bit oversupplied. And a good example of that, as you can see, like prices. Kyle mentioned the prices are up $90 in 3 weeks, but that's probably I don't know if Kyle's talking about futures or not, but the cash prices have been kind of stable on 2x4s and just really chasing futures up for the last couple of just the last really 6 or 7 sessions until today. But um, I think the eventually supply is going to get in balance with demand. But right now, I think demand is falling off so quickly and being talked about falling off so quickly. The supply it just feels like the market's still oversupplied. But in reality, if everybody went out and bought enough just to patch up your inventory to where it was adequate and not lean, I don't think the supply of lumber is there to take care of it. I think we find that we were short undersupplied actually.
Yeah, and I think I can just answer uh, right or wrong. What I always see is where is the wood in the pipeline, right? That's always what determines if the price is going to go up or down sometimes. What I see right now is I lived through 10 years where you would put trucks on the ground and you would sell them at a discount to carload replacement. And it was a head scratcher why you even put wood on the ground sometimes, right? So you
Yeah.
had to have it bought correctly. The last few years, that's reversed, and it is a good reason why people were getting paid to put wood on the ground, and you still are getting a premium for wood on the ground. What that always tells me is there's not enough wood on the ground at the right places, right? So
Right.
that eventually changes, right? And we'll see. But that's right now. It's um, supply and demand probably are in check, but where is the wood in the pipeline? That's what will move it right now. So James Breck said OSB cash market in Western Canada is thinning rapidly. Lumber is still well supplied. Yeah, James, we match a lot of people that historically was a Western Canadian market and some of our markets in the Midwest where people used to reload. And it's been all non-Western OSB that's been matching on the platform lately at a lot of places. But maybe that will change. Um, Michael, we can buy them right now for 485 delivered premium prompt. I'm not sure what they're asking on that one.
Two
Uh,
before 12s at a
no,
pick example.
oh, 2x412s. Michael, we can buy them at
Euros.
2x412. So put if Ellen's got an account in a bid, he can put a bid in there and see what he can get them done at because they've
That's just
tradable.
that's an example of why things like this are good because 475 sounds like a fair price, but what Alan's saying is that yeah, that's a good price, but that's not the best price. Unless you make the offer and you try to make that exchange back and forth, you're not going to find out what the number is. So
And that's the great thing
make
about
it good.
about our platform, and this isn't intended for that, but yeah, I mean, people actually put a 465 bid and delivered them, and somebody hits them, right? Uh, So, Chad, we are running lean now on EWP on the ground. Interesting, Chad. Good question. So, I was talking to a person in the Texas, Mississippi market yesterday, and they were saying lumber is very easy to move around, but what they're still seeing from their builders is all the other stuff. Some of it is starting to free up, but a lot of the other stuff was still tough to button up houses with. So I guess not everything, and what I'm saying is I don't garage doors, siding, and all that kind of stuff. Not everything is flowing perfectly. It's getting better, but there's still a little few hiccups out there, right?
Let me tell you about one I heard this morning. A builder sent me a pretty long email and said, just ask around and see what you're hearing. But he said his concrete supplier has started bringing him half truckloads instead of full truckloads at a time. And he's having to pour half slabs and wait for the truck to come back and pour the other half a slab. And they've been out like they're 3 weeks behind on concrete. And I haven't had a chance to ask around, but it does seem like there's the other than lumber items are not haven't really wrinkled out all of their supply chain problems. And you start pouring half slabs at a time, and that's going to be a real issue. Whether I mean, just trying to keep lumber flowing when you got to wait on a slab, that's not a good thing.
Yeah, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. So Matt, we're kind of getting up. We're getting up against our half an hour. That was some good feedback. We'll see if somebody comes up with some other things. But again, I want to make sure I put mxlbr.com for all of our users. That are out there. Sign in, get on, put your bids in. We have a lot more bids, a lot more bids lately. You could see the bids increase in the last 5 days. So almost as Kyle was saying, we saw the bids increasing as this market started rising, which is the great part to see the flow when you're sitting in a digital platform. You get to see the flow of the buys and the sells in there, which is market knowledge, which we want to bring to everybody here. And eventually, what we are going to have is a ticker across the bottom that gives you the price delivered to you in real time, so you don't have to wait a couple days a week for that price to come out and do that. Chad said also it's hard to get flash for the mixture. Maybe that's for concrete. Does that make sense? I don't know exactly what he meant on that one. Oh, cement shortage. There you go. Alan, Mike put his number up there to give him a call on bids on the 2x4 12-footer. We'll get you taken care of. And this is what this show does: is get people talking to people and seeing stuff they wouldn't normally see in the traditional call around market. So we want you to be able to do both. Talk to your broker, use mx.com or mxlbr.com. And also, Matt, why don't you tell them how they sign up for your publication and how they, and for not just, I'm doing you a disservice saying it's a publication. I think you are an all-encompassing service that has a publication, but also provides a lot of different services to educate people and to be in touch on a daily basis to what the market's doing.
One of the takeaways from the project that we had the other day was it was called Debriefing to Win. It was by a fighter pilot. His name is Cujo. In the final, it was a 3.5 hour session, and in the final session, we ended up with what is your purpose? And it wasn't to make a paycheck, but what are you in business to do? What are you trying to accomplish? And it left me. I was flabbergasted and dumbfounded because I didn't have an answer for that. I mean, we're in a transition process of becoming more trying to educate and help rather than just provide a number and forecasting service. So it's a little bit of we're kind of in a transition ourselves. But yeah, just laymansguide.com is the best way to go find us. And we've got 2-month free trial to look at our forecasting products. And we got a scouting report, which is free for everyone. And I noticed there's several guys on here today that were some of our new scouts. I appreciate you guys being proactive and getting me information and helpful information. I mean, all these publications are just a regurgitation of what you guys say collectively and how we interpret it and try to find the under the cover meaning or the overlooked obvious. But it takes hate to give Hillary some credit, but it takes a village.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Great feedback today. Hey, you know why I like this show? All the feedback we get going in the comments really helps. It helps me be better for sure. It helps me know what I'm doing wrong, doing right, and helps Matt and I produce a better show next time. But I really suggest that you get on Matt's stuff, listen to him. He's been doing it a long time. He's got a lot of people in there helping him right now. I'm better because I read his stuff, and also come to mxlbr.com, sign up, and we'll get you looking at a real-time digital B2B market. So Matt, thank you so much for the time today, and we'll look forward to doing this again next week.
Thanks for all the feedback, guys. That's very helpful
Yep.
and informative. Makes the show
Appreciate it.
easy.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
See you.